the tables. You are aware. You're way over there. So you do your thing. And dampen sound. SCHALLMASCHINE is an expression that we created for a series of concert performances connected to spaces and large ensembles of percussionists. Started off in 2002 in a space in Basel, Switzerland, where we had 4 stages with 3 percussionists on each stage. The second machine was in Melbourne. It was called SCHALLMASCHINE Small, which was actually little machines built of beautiful wood and copper elements, and we played on those machines in specifically small spaces for a very limited audience of 3 to 4 people. In 2007 we built a scaffolding kind of structures, 3 stories high, with 24 percussionists. And now we have this big machine which is called SCHALLMASCHINE MAXIMUS, which takes place in an amphitheater. That's the ultimate machine. An amphitheater like this here in Augusta, Raurica has served as a center for all political and cultural events for more than 2,000 years. It's the machine where actually everything gets involved, everybody gets involved, all issues are discussed, and that's also what I call a machine. A machine does not, for me, not necessarily mean mechanical parts that function with each other, but a machine is also a process.
So just try to keep it just the soft sound until the 3rd time through that first chorale, then you can add, you know, within the chorale framework a couple of notes, yeah? But it's 3 times through, completely, to begin.
Quick glance, you know. Oh yeah, this has to go here. You can always be in a bad mood. I like bad moods. You can go like this. Don't overdo it by, what shall I do next? Just have to observe the whole musical development. It should get, of course, more trashier. Pick up 2 things at a certain point, act faster, and try to connect the sounds. So really listen and clash, 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 clash. That would be really lovely. We've created the SCHALLMASCHINE together with Boa Baumann, an architect with whom I collaborate since more than 20 years. We've produced all kinds of work in the architectural field as well as in the musical, theatrical field. A very interesting collaboration for me, especially because as a musician I don't usually get to build actual buildings or to actually interfere with concrete and wood and glass. Then we have Brigitte Dubach, who's a light designer who has been collaborating with us over more than 15 years as well. She's a very distinct lighting artist who works a lot with colors and shades and deepness of visual perception. She also has a very good eye for instruments, how to light instruments, how to light movement, since she has been working a lot with dancers and dance companies. I have a group of musicians I've been working with for many years, like Rob Kloot from the Nits, a Dutch pop drummer originally, but who also works in the field of contemporary music now. I have friends like Sylvia Schitinska, Bob Becker, who have been long-standing collaborators. And there are many other people now involved from different percussion groups as Ensemble 12 and Synergy Percussion, Speak Percussion. It has always been a changing form. This turn, I think, it's pretty much as good as it gets. An amphitheater, of course, has a very specific acoustic. We can only imagine how beautiful it was when it was complete. Now, the bigger part is actually missing. And what's also missing is the beautiful silence we had 2,000 years ago. But it still is, and it still feels like a big ear of the area. It's kind of a focus point in the region. These theaters have been used, they were constructed a kind of a stage building and then played in front of that, and the audience was looking down. We had a feeling, why not turn it around and use the stage for the people to sit and listen, and use the beautiful amphitheater as a backdrop for the movement and for the sound. There might be a moment of silence, and then he goes up with the bell, and then he stops again, and then eventually we have, who's the second one?
Louis.
Then you turn around, and you walk out. That's all you do. But we're going to put some more stuff in there. Ore piccole is a concept for larger percussion ensembles. I've been realizing in quite a few variations over the years. It gives the individual player the possibility to establish a thought, a gesture, an idea, a musical phrase in a larger context. So it's not really a solo, but it's a phrase. As I said, it's a gesture, it's a word, it's a sound, and it's repeated all the time. So by juxtaposing all these different single voices and movements and gestures, there is a kind of a world in the world being constructed. Some things we have to adjust in timing or in geography, but basically we're not completely. So it's just a matter of how to put it together and to do the timing. Since every personality moves in its own loop, they shift to each other, like the stars shift in the skies, and sometimes the so-called coincidence factor plays wonderful melodies. Sometimes you have just a silence where you don't expect it. It's these layers that allow you kind of think a little bit philosophically about individuality and society and a machine. And it is a machine because everybody is looping, it's sing, but it's as personal as a machine can possibly get. And then you make 2 steps back, and then you start fighting. The title of Ore piccolo comes from an Italian expression, and the Ore piccolo is the small hours. It's just before day breaks. So between 3 and 5 in the morning, when everybody is a little crazy when you're up. That's what the Italians call ore piccole. That's where time gets a little denser and you start fantasizing a little bit. I personally find working people the most beautiful people in the world. When I see somebody working, I like the focus, I like the concentration, I like the dedication, I like the passion, and I like the unpretentiousness of the action. Somebody who's concentratedly working on something is just always beautiful. The moment they get on a stage and they do it in a piece and they're supposed to hammer a nail in the ground, it looks kind of silly. And to find an approach that allows you to understand the process of gesture and sound and working maneuver that finally results in a musical context is something that just really fascinates me. I see people moving on stage and I try to help them to do it in a way that we can understand what the intention of the sound was, but I also help them to move in a way that the sound can be created after all. So it's a give and take situation between movement, visual aspects, gesture and sound.